Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Comic-Con Podcast, Season 2, Episode 23 here, recording this on June 9th, 2022. Of course, you can find us on all the major podcast platforms, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor FM, iTunes. And guess what, everybody? We are officially on Amazon Music. So let's give us all a round of applause.
We made it, dog. We made it.
Yeah, I finally, called up Amazon and Amazon Prime, and I said, "Hey, let's do this." And they said, "All right, yeah, we'll let you on there." So, of course, I'm one of your hosts for today's episode, Justin, aka Nemesis Prime, and I got my buddy Zach with me. What's going on, man? How are you?
Good, man. Yeah, dude, it took me for a while to get Bezos. He's been dodging my calls lately, but I got him on. That's what got us on Amazon. He was up in space, busy being rich as fuck. So
Yeah. Hey, you know what's funny? I was listening to last week's episode, and it's pretty funny. You know the age of your niece, but you don't know the age of your nephew.
Okay, so let me explain. So I have two nieces and a nephew, and I know my oldest niece obviously because she was first, and then I know the second one because she's 2 years younger. But then there was a gap between my youngest niece and my nephew, and so it's like a mathematical thing. So I know the oldest niece. And then by then I can deduce the second niece, and then that little bastard, I always forget his age.
Because you were so quick when we were talking about Princess Leia last week. You're like, yeah, my 10-year-old niece. And I'm always like, and everyone out there listening knows, anytime Zach brings up his nephew, he has no idea how old he is. He just talks about him all the time.
Dude, I think right now, even thinking about it, I think he's 7.
Okay, well, you should find this out and then at least know it for
why,
future
bro?
episodes.
He's gonna be a different age next year. What does it matter? Just wait till
whatever.
Then.
Anyway, let's get on to what we got for this week's podcast. We have a ton of stuff to talk about. Of course, community stuff. We got some Marvel, some DC, some TV stuff, some movie stuff. So much stuff to talk about. So let's pop right into our community section. Shout out to a few people in the community that reached out to us via email on the comicconpodcast@gmail.com. We did read your emails. We will be responding over the weekend. Zach and I kind of discussed this. We kind of like to do like a collaboration. It's not just like I respond and then I tell Zach what I wrote or vice versa. We're kind of collaborating on that stuff. So we appreciate the emails on things that have been, spoken in the community and stuff like that. But going forward, we have an awesome event going on this weekend. If you're listening to this early enough on Whatnot, our buddy Comic Dunes, yes, Comic Dunes, DUNES, is having an all-day community barbecue and sale on Whatnot. So basically, he has about 8 different streams lined up, starting at 8 a.m., going till 8 o'clock at night, having like an hour break in between them, having multiple sellers come on. So not only are some of his friends going to be selling on his Whatnot channel, as well as myself, Mighty Mel V is going to be there. I think it's 360 Comics is also going to be there as well. There's so many people that are going to be going to this as well. It's a cool little community thing. So if you are on Whatnot, make sure you follow Comic Dunes.
So how's it going to go down? Is he setting up just one camera for all you guys, and then you're just going to pop on for like an hour? And it's at his house, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's at his house. Going to have some food, barbecue, kind of like a cookout thing. So my plan is like for me, myself, if you want to follow and see what I'm going to be selling, I know he put together some Star Wars stuff. I'm going to be doing at the 2:00 Eastern time slot. So that's for me. It's cool. And I'll probably get over there at like 12 o'clock, hang out, hang out with people in the community and just like shoot shit, whatever. And then, I'll do my 2 o'clock, maybe if I go an hour and a half, whatever it is. And then I'm still going to hang out because, there's going to be a ton of people hanging out over there. So it's going to be a good time.
Sounds like fun. Yeah.
Really interested in this event. It's obviously they do a lot of these events on Whatnot where it's like, let's just say if I went and then the next person, like if Zach was going to go on the next hour, but this is really cool because this is everybody is going to be on his one stream, like on his channel, and everyone's there in person. So it's not like you're, using his one account and people are all over the country or all over the state. Like everyone's going to be at his house hanging out. So you may see me pop into somebody else's show, just like saying hi or what's up.
How's he setting it up inside the room? You guys doing this all outside?
No, it's definitely going to be inside, get the good Wi-Fi and sound. And yeah.
What's the weather like?
As of right now, it's okay, which is good. So that's the most important thing. Cause you want to make sure, obviously for food and stuff, nobody wants to have everybody hang out inside the house. So.
Right. Cookouts kind of weird if it's all indoors.
Oh,
but that sounds fun, man. You guys are going to have a blast.
Yeah, definitely. So hopefully the weather holds up and we'll see what happens going forward from there. So that's our quick community stuff here. Let's kind of get moving right into some movie stuff. So this is a real quick fun article that we just found over at cbr.com that was posted on June 8th. Tim Burton shares his candid thoughts on Batman Forever's nipples. Quote, go F yourself. So, of course, the 30th anniversary of Batman Returns is this year. And over with Empire Online, Tim Burton was interviewed and they talked about what was going on with the 1995 neon lit Batman Forever. Of course, changed over from Joel Schumacher. And it's really funny. He ends up stating and quoting himself. He says, "That's the funny thing about it." But when I was like, wait a minute, okay, hold on a second. You can compare me. I'm too weird. I'm too dark. And then you put Batman, you put nipples on the costume. Go fuck yourself. Seriously. So yeah, I think that's why I didn't end up doing the third film. So I think it's hilarious and it's 100% true. I think
Y-
Michael Keaton did an amazing job on Batman Returns. And then all of a sudden, Joel Schumacher took over, and just with Batman Forever and Batman Robin, it was a completely different tone and take.
Right. Actually, I'm looking. Whenever I think about the bat nipples, I always think of Batman and Robin, not so much Batman Forever. And I'm looking at, Val Kilmer in the bat suit. And yeah, they're there for sure. The nipples are. They're not as pronounced as they were in Batman and Robin. Like in Batman and Robin, it's like they held ice cubes to his nipples in that suit. But
Hmm.
yeah, damn man, that shit was weird.
Yeah, pretty crazy stuff. So that was just a quick little article that we found. I thought it was funny to discuss here on the podcast. But let's get into some trailers. There's a ton of stuff that dropped this week. We're going to start, of course, with the Black Adam trailer. We finally got the full release, and I feel like DC kind of did like trying to do a one up because, of course, this week it released on the same day as Episode 4 of Obi-Wan Kenobi, same day as Ms. Marvel Episode 1 over on Disney Plus. So trying to pull some steam back, trying to get that trending, whether it's Twitter hashtag or on Yahoo, whatever it is. Zach, why don't you go first? What did you think of the trailer for the first full length trailer that we got?
So it was good. I mean, the teaser was really awesome. I mean, just even
Mhm.
the teaser we had, what, I don't know, months ago at this point, was really cool seeing The Rock. I don't care if he changed his name to Dwayne Johnson. It's always going to be The Rock, right? So
Mhm.
The Rock is Black Adam looked awesome. We got a little bit more into story in this one. Like we're getting a little better idea of kind of what their plot line's going to be and where's it going. We obviously got first looks pretty much of the supporting cast, the JSA, if you
Mhm.
will, like a better look. I mean, obviously we kind of saw him before, but we got to see him a little bit more like in action and close up. Um, a lot of oh man, mind blank right now. Dr. Fate. I
Yep.
thought it was really cool kind of having him like narrate. It seems like he's playing somewhat of like the mentor role to Black Adam a little bit, which is cool.
Yep.
Pierce Brosnan, goddamn, can't believe I forgot his name. And yeah, it looks good, dude. It looks very serious, which I'm good with, man. Like that's what DC. I've been saying it for years. DC needs to lean heavier into that. Don't try to follow the route of Marvel and do the comedy, which I know you would appreciate. But
So much.
but yeah, dude, it looks good. It looks really good. I had my doubts ahead of time, about Black Adam being like a main star, but it looks awesome.
Yeah. I
You?
definitely I loved it. The one let's just kind of take the one con or the one takeaway that I didn't like, but again, it's fine. And every superhero doesn't have a cape. So it's just weird like seeing the Rock fly with no cape, right? Like it's
Gotcha.
okay when we'd see like Superman flying or Doctor Strange or any of the other characters in superhero world or superhero life. And it's just weird when you don't have him with a cape on and he's like flying next to like the F-16s and like but yeah, the trailer is awesome. Dr. Fate, and almost like he does like a magic thing, kind of like the Mirrorverse. Like you get a
Hmm.
quick shot of him. My favorite line in the trailer is when he talks about his history and how he died, and now he's like, and now I kneel before no one. And I'm
Right.
like, oh, that's so badass. Like totally taking a thing from like Zod. But I think all the characters are great. Like Cyclone, you get a nice couple shots of her. Atom Smasher, Doctor Fate, of course. Hawkman looks
Hawkman.
badass, and these are characters that are so old in the DC, comics that you're finally bringing them forward, right?
Right.
They're like no name. A lot of these, like Cyclone and Atom Smasher, I would think are like those are like the D list characters, right?
Yeah,
That
C or
like
D list for
yeah,
sure.
they are way down on the bottom. Mid tier is definitely Doctor Fate and Hawkman. They've been around forever. They've been in the Justice League.
Right.
So
Hawkman always so underutilized, man. So underutilized.
yeah.
I will say this though about the cape thing. That whatever the cloak he's wearing though looks badass. Like whenever
Hmm.
he's wearing that like duster cloak, and it almost makes him look. It's cool because Black Adam, Shazam. There's the magic element. It really
Hmm.
makes him kind of look like a wizard in a
Yep.
way. Not to like dumb it down, but it does make him kind of look wizardy. He looks
Yeah.
like the buffest wizard of all time. It's like
He's
a wizard ate 5 Gandalfs. But
yeah, Sam Wilson. He's a wizard, like
yeah,
Frodo like what's his not
like
Frodo. Gandalf.
Gandalf. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, man. It looks really good. So.
So I'm definitely excited for it. It's definitely going to be awesome coming out October 21st. So let's
Wait,
kind of
before you
go
move
ahead.
on, surprise note on this topic, since we're talking about DCEU movie. How about Ezra Miller getting in trouble again,
Oh
dude?
God,
We
this is our
keep
third
talking about
time
it,
we're
so we
talking
have
about
to.
this.
This is like the 5th time he's gotten arrested or some shit.
Yes.
Like, what was this one? He gave drugs to someone or something?
Yeah, he was arrested. No, yeah, he was selling drugs to like a minor, like a girl.
Yeah, or
I think that's what it
booze to a
was.
minor, and then something else. Yeah, we got to talk about this because this dude is just the worst person on the.
It's wild, man. It's absolutely wild the things that are going on with Ezra Miller. Like I'm sure, we obviously talked about it the first time around. So he's been accused of supplying an underage girl with alcohol, marijuana, and LSD, as well as physically harming the minor. The parents have asked the courts to issue an order of protection for Miller on behalf of their daughter. Like,
There's something about cult like behavior, like him, Ezra Miller. Okay, so here it is. Parents of 18-year-old activist accuse Ezra Miller of grooming daughter with cult like behavior. Dude, I mean, you got to be like at Warner Brothers. They just got to be like sitting there every time something happens. They're like, oh no, like they're just. I read another article not too long ago how they were, um, they just couldn't. There had been talk, obviously. There had been
mhm.
talk and consideration on like, hey, maybe we recast or like refilm some of like the Flash with a new actor, but they had gone so far, spent so much money, it would have been like astronomical to try to switch it at this point.
Yeah, he's definitely done as Flash, like without a doubt.
They
They'll
got to
just
reshoot and kill him or something, or like a alternate. They need to take a page out of Marvel and for once and like alternate version of him. Bring in fucking Grant Gustin as like alternate Flash and
yeah.
take over.
Well, he doesn't even want to do. They're kind of trying to wrap up that too. We've kind of
Right.
briefly talked about that. They're going to wrap it up soon. It's just like how you're going to do it. Um, yeah, they're either just going to have to bring in like a Wally West and go forward, or
Yeah.
completely just reboot the multiverse, and he'll be Barry Allen, but he'll remember everything. Like so, it'll be like a Flashpoint, like redo New 52 type of thing.
God, man, the guy's a shit show, dude.
Oh, totally, totally. So, moving on to our next topic, and this is still going on. It started 2 days ago on the 7th. It actually ends on the 11th. Is Netflix Geeked Week. So everything, if you're following YouTube, and of course, like once they start talking about things, they immediately get dropped as trailers, and then immediately there's articles all about it. But I mean, there's so much going on right now with Netflix. Of course, the biggest things you have the season 3 of Umbrella Academy. You have season 3 of Lock and Key. You have season 2 of Sweet Tooth. They were talking about. There was tons of other, not only just comic book related stuff, but trailers that were dropping, like documentaries, movies, series. There's just so much, and
Mhm.
there's so much that probably is still going to be even shown. Warrior Nun season 2. We haven't seen that in about 2 years, but the biggest one was our first. Oh, and even Resident Evil, and I'm excited for that. But the biggest one was Sandman. This is something that we've talked about here on the podcast before, as they were signing actors and actresses, like who they were going to be playing, what were they going to look like. And now we got our first full length trailer on this, and I absolutely love it. I know nothing of the Vertigo Sandman. I tried to dabble in some of it here and
Mhm.
there when they like would reboot it over the past 10 years, or do like a couple like one shots, or some of the characters end up showing in these like DC events. But I am full into this. I think some of the characters look so badass. I don't really know any of the actors that are shown in the show, but there's a lot of cool characters that, from what I've been reading, that are are definitely just like their counterpart, their comic book counterparts. So I'm excited for that. It starts over the summer. Zach, what about you? What are you thinking about this one?
I'm right with you. I don't know. I've never read the Sandman stuff by Neil Gaiman, however you pronounce his name. Um, I'm pretty pumped. The visuals on that trailer, oh my god, dude! I mean, the visuals of that show, if they keep it up, it looks amazing.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it honestly kind of makes me want. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Stuff like Sandman, I know it's a little bit more, for lack of a better word, highbrow type comic book. You know, a little bit
Hmm.
more existential, and it's not really my thing. You know, I kind of like the easy escape and the superhero shit. You know, occasionally some Boom Studios, but I do. It's given me kind of a desire to go read some of the Sandman stuff. I like Neil Gaiman. I'm not a massive fan, but I can respect like his artistry, if you will. I mean, the guy's great writer. So yeah, it looks awesome. You were talking about actors and actresses. You got Captain Phasma's playing Lucifer, right? And like Brienne, who also played Brienne in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
She's playing like
Yeah,
Lucifer.
they
So
changed that up from
yeah,
obviously because I think they wanted to get away from the Lucifer that was on both Fox and then
right.
Netflix. So that's completely changing. I know they even changed up kind of not John, yeah.
Joanna Constantine, right?
Well, Joanna Constantine is in
Yeah.
Sandman, so she does appear
Mm.
only in like that Sandman universe because
And is that like
obviously
his
that's like
granddaughter or who is it? What's her
yeah, it's
relation
like
to John?
something. It's like yeah, it's like older Constantine. Like she's from like the 17 or 1800s.
Oh, so
Um,
before. Okay.
Yeah, way before John.
Gotcha.
So that's like that is part of the Vertigo universe. Obviously they changed up the race for Death, and I mean I was really looking forward to seeing Death. A pale girl, like dark
Mhm.
hair, but you have Kirby Batista who's playing her. She's an African American actress, and she's a cool actress. I liked her in Cruella. She played like the one of Cruella's friends who ends up being like the photographer,
Oh,
or
yeah.
works for
Okay.
like the newspaper. And
Yeah.
she's a pretty girl. I think she's going to be pretty awesome as Death because she's like my one favorite character in the whole Sandman universe. So like anytime I see like cool covers, like
Mhm.
I always try to grab them and pick them up. But yeah, then you have all the different things like you obviously you have Morpheus, you have Desire. There's a ton of other
The
characters that
Corinthian
yeah.
supposed to show up. Yeah. Yeah, it
So
looks great, dude. I mean, like I said, visually, holy hell, man.
yeah,
It's insane.
and that's the best thing is that like you and we've never read it, so
Mhm.
for us to just go in, it's completely open for us.
Yeah, there was a lot of, like you said, a lot of good stuff came out on the Netflix thing, the Geeked Week, and pretty exciting. Netflix is kind of, I don't know, man. It's kind of been stagnant recently, and then of course they drop like well, recently you obviously had Stranger Things, and like you said, Umbrella Academy is coming out, Locked and Key final season.
Mhm.
But I feel like before that, shit, there hadn't been like a ton on Netflix that I was really wanting to watch.
No, they
You
just
know?
released that 3rd season of, Love, Kill Robots, ish well, I should say season 3 on that. But, again, we're gonna be dropping this episode on, obviously, June 10th. They're still gonna be doing it on June 10th and 11th, so, I know they teased a new follow-up series for Masters of the Universe called
Yeah,
Revelations, I believe it was called. Um,
yeah.
so there's probably other
No,
things.
Revolution,
Oh, Revolutions. Okay, yeah, because
Revelations was the first
Revelations.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's gonna be tons of stuff that we're probably gonna be talking about maybe next week if they drop a trailer or announce something. So,
Did you see?
even the Resident
Speaking
Evil
of,
series looks good.
oh, sorry, man, sorry.
Go ahead. No, what'd you say?
Did you see randomly on Nickelodeon as well? They got the first season of the Nickelodeon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Oh, I
which
did
is
not.
amazing, dude. Amazing show. So
Hmm,
good, so good. But I don't know why they only dropped only season one for whatever reason.
hmm.
So
I'll have to take a look at that.
yeah, you gotta check it out.
Awesome. All right. So before we get out of our TV and movie stuff, let's kind of real quick. This is really going under the radar, and I think people are going to be really surprised at this. Of course, last week the Boys season 3 started. Um, we're going to be getting Paper Girls finally. So Image Comics, Brian K. Vaughan, Paper Girls is going to be dropping upcoming on July 29th over at Amazon Prime. They
Hmm.
had a little bit of a teaser trailer a few weeks ago, kind of a full trailer, but the four girls in the show, it's kind of like a Stranger Things meets time warping, right? Have you ever read
I'm
Paper
not,
Girls?
no, not familiar with Paper Girls.
Oh, okay. So I think this is a good show probably for you because I know you're a fan of the Stranger Things stuff. So
Yeah.
instead of there's four girls, there's time manipulation and stuff that goes on. They have like mystery to solve. It's very interesting. I think it's like what? It's like 30 issues if I'm not mistaken. I have a few of the issue number ones I've been, sitting on for a while. So it's definitely going to be an interesting story, I think. And I don't know how many seasons it's going to go, but obviously I hope with only having 30 issues, they'll be able to do a complete run of
Mhm.
that series.
Sorry, did you say it's animated or not?
No, live action.
Live action? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll check that out. Yeah, I mean, just like Sandman, it's always kind of fun to go into these. 'Cause sometimes, you go into the shows where you've read the books and it's sometimes it can be hard to enjoy it because you love the source material so much. So and
Mhm.
the reverse obviously is nice as well, where you can go into with no expectations and just try to enjoy this format of the story. So
Yeah. And I think that's a lot of what's coming out. Like, especially, we talked about it last week and even the week, like The Boys. Like, I've never read The Boys.
mhm,
There's a lot of things like with Sandman I've never read. So, and I'm sure a lot of people are like that. There's a lot of people that are, like you said, you're into your superheroes, you're into,
right.
maybe some more of the sci-fi horror stuff. You're not into the stuff that's been going on that is obviously in development or um, that's coming out. So the fact that you can just go in and I could go in with nothing in
Mhm,
there, I'm sure it's like it's a lot better, right?
mhm. Yeah, except I mean, the boys, I read the boys, and it's
Well,
amazing. And this and the show is but I like the different take. It's great. Like you can read the boys.
yeah.
Obviously it's not the same across the board for every series, right? And your beloved like characters, sometimes it can be different, but something like the boys, it's like, look, I enjoyed the whole issues and series of the comic of the boys. It was so good. And then the show comes out and it's like, it's almost like I get to do it all over again. And it's a whole new story of the boys, and I have a
Mhm.
general idea and it's fun again. It's like, oh, cool. Like, yeah, don't follow the main story, kind of do your own thing. And I'm not really invested in the boys necessarily, but so I love it. But obviously that doesn't always work, right?
Oh, no. But this season, you've seen all 3 episodes
Oh
so
my
far,
God,
right?
dude, I can't wait till we can talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be fun to talk about this series. And we've talked about the other 2 series as well, so first 2
Right.
seasons. So, we're definitely gonna be interested in, I don't know how many episodes this is. Is it 8 or
Um,
10? I haven't even looked up.
I feel
So,
like it's 8.
yeah,
Um,
we'll obviously, we'll do our mid-season and final review once it's done, but yeah, that first episode was wild.
let's see, 8 episodes each
Okay.
season. Yeah.
So yeah, we got this week and then well, next week's episode or next week we'll talk about our mid-season review on Jesus the Boys. Um so let's talk so we're talking
It's like
comic
funny
books.
even thinking about it right now.
I know it's so bad. It's really bad.
Yeah.
I'm afraid for like cuz I know like my parents watch every now and then they'll throw on like certain shows and they'll ask me about it and I'm just like so like I don't know man, they're going to watch that episode and I'm be like, "Oh gosh."
I'm looking at the episode count right now, and I didn't realize. I mean, I knew I'd read about it, and I just wasn't really paying attention. But the 6th episode is going to be Hero Gasm. Holy hell, bro!
Oh, that's right.
It's going to be
Yes.
crazy. It's gonna be crazy.
Yep. All right. I'm
Anyway,
excited to see Soldier Boy. I
yeah,
really,
more.
yeah, yeah. All right. So since we're talking about comics, let's kind of move over to our comic book section. This one's coming over from bleedingcool.com. This one just dropped today on June 9th. So DC to publish official DCEU prequel comics to the Black Adam movie. So of course we were just talking about the Black Adam trailer, but we're actually be getting five separate installments of one shots that are leading up to the Black Adam movie. So these are the first official installments of a comic book prequel to the blockbuster film of Black Adam, which is something that we really don't ever see on the DC side. We
Mhm.
usually get these in Marvel, which they kind of go under the radar, but they are Black Adam and the Justice Society files focusing on different people. So the first one that's going to be coming out is Hawkman, um, written by our buddy Kevin Scott, of course, from Star Wars
Yep.
fame right now. Of course, you're going to get Cyclone, you're going to get Doctor Fate, Atom Smasher, and the Black Adam. Um, I'm excited for these because obviously they come with normal cover, like an A and a B cover, but of course the variant cover is the photo of the movie, right? And the
Right, the
covers
cover
look,
B, right? Yeah,
oh yeah, and they
yeah,
look great.
they
Like
do.
especially if obviously CGC or whoever, like they announced anytime there's actresses to for signings. I really like some of these
Mhm.
covers. The Pierce Brosnan one where he's just kind of in the suit and holding the helmet of Doctor Fate is a badass cover.
Say what you will about DC, whatever your opinion is or whatever on comics. One thing that you can never say DC does wrong is that cover B, that cardstock book on every title is so good. I mean, not saying the art's always good, but like if you are a fan of that cover B variant,
Mhm.
that cardstock is so good, man. It's such a great like way to preserve your comic. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Always looks so good.
and it should be, right out of the gate. It's like mint. It's like a mint book.
Right.
It's at
Exactly.
least an it's a 9.6 or better, 9.8 or better if CGC ever wanted to give you a 9.9 or a 10.
Hmm.
But yeah, those are the best. Like they barely have. I've never had an issue. I think getting one of those. I've sent
Yeah.
a ton into CGC, and I always come back a 9.8. Like I don't even need to look it over. I'm just like, yeah, I'm sure it's a 9.8. Like,
And it's just so minimal too. It's almost like it is almost a virgin cover a lot of times. Like the trade
mhm.
dress is so minimal. It's all about the art and that. I think they've been doing that for like 2 or 3 years now, and it's great. But yeah, these are cool, man. I mean, like I'll probably pick these up just to kind of get an idea of who the characters are before the movie starts. Obviously it's not in continuity with like the DC universe of comics, but I don't know much about Cyclone, so like that's kind of one I'm really interested in reading. But yeah, dude, I think this is a good idea. I think this is a good move on DC's part.
Yeah, and just so obvious, and I'm sure they're going to talk. We're not retailers, so the retailers usually know more than this. But if they don't know, DC's also making these comics fully returnable. So hoping to preserve the fact that they can meet the demand if people want it, and of course, if it doesn't sell, then you go ahead and you ship it back and you get yourself a refund. So
Yeah,
um,
that's cool.
that's always the best thing, especially with some books that they have the ability to do that. And I think just being able, like I said, getting to know some of these characters because yeah, they are going to be completely different than from their comic book counterparts. Like
Hmm.
Cyclone is completely different from what I've seen. I remember her in like the Justice Society of America, like when Alex Ross did all those covers in like the early 2000s. So we'll see what happens. She's got a completely different costume, like very, like almost futuristic compared to her
Yeah,
comic book counterpart.
she almost kind of looks like Green Lanternish a little bit.
Mhm.
I thought, but
Yeah.
still looks good.
Yeah. Same name, it's Maxine Hunkel from, for the Justice Society. So, we'll see. And then, of course, you have, Adriana Tomaz, who kinda shows up in that trailer as well. So we're thinking, maybe we'll get her as Isis at the end, but or maybe a different character name because they may not use the name Isis.
Hmm.
So we'll see. They all go on sale, right around July. They start July 5th is the first one, and then it goes every month until the end of October when, Black Adam comes out. So,
Cool.
and then we have one more comic book article. I think Zach's got this one. What do we got on the Marvel side, man?
Yeah, so also from Bleeding Cool here, we got Marvel is now exclusive with Penguin and Random House for bookstores as well. So I'm not going to read it word for word, but if everyone knows, the past couple of years have been since COVID, really things with publishers and distribution have been kind of all across the board with DC and Marvel and whatnot and Diamond and everything. But recently, Marvel had just been not just their comic books were through Penguin Random House, and their like hardcovers and collected editions were um, kind of coming through somewhere else through Hatchet. But now they're kind of solidifying and going all through Penguin Random House, which should be good for comic book stores. I know that some comic book stores are utilizing Diamond as like a third party distributor now because you can go through Diamond, you can get everything you want minus the DC stuff, but I think it costs them a little bit extra to do that. So this might even the playing field, or it might make it a little bit easier for the comic shops. I know my shop, my guy I talk to all the time, he you know constantly talks about how big of a pain in the ass it is to order now from all these different places. I mean, obviously back in the day it was all Diamond, and now you got it kind of spread out over the place. So I think it'll be good. I'm also a big fan of. I don't like monopolies in general, so I like the fact there's different places to shop from, and give the LCSs like a chance, like to shop around and get good deals, better shipping, whatever. Do your best. So, but yeah, I might clear it up a little bit. So we'll
Yeah, I
see how
think
it
it's
goes, man.
that's I think that's great because especially with retailers, they need to eat, and I think the
Right.
idea with Marvel just putting everything with Penguin is the way to go. We've seen so many issues between with Diamond and Penguin Random House. Just
Right.
I mean, people love the way it comes through is just so much better than dealing with how Diamond was.
And I always forget who's DC with right now.
Um,
Because whoever they are, they do it right. Like my
yeah.
shop always talks about how the DC books I'm like almost sometimes a week in advance, dude. So
Oh, Lunar.
Lunar, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lunar is the one. I knew
And
it was
they
like something to do with like moons. I just couldn't think of it.
so yeah, dude, I've heard like no complaints from the shop about like Lunar and whatnot. So and
Mhm.
Penguin obviously has been around for a really long time. So I mean they're a well-known company and give it some time. Hopefully any kinks that were there previously will kind of be worked out. So
Yeah, and then I'll start that. That's going to start all next year. So we're
yeah.
still like a year away from the final transition, but at least it's something to look forward to for Marvel and Penguin.
Hmm.
And then just one other quick article. Of course, this is something that we've talked about, here on the podcast, and I know Zach's kind of gearing up for this, but over at Bleeding Cool, Marvel and Kieran Gillen is giving us a naked Iron Man for Judgment Day. So Kieran Gillen is going to be writing 3 additional AXE, which is Avengers, X-Men, and Eternals Judgment Day one shots for Marvels, and he's talking about basically stripping down Iron Man of his armor like never before. So
Let me
interesting news. So I
let
don't
me
know what.
caveat that. I'm not looking forward or gearing up for Naked Iron Man. That's kind of
No,
how when you said it that way, I'm looking forward to this event.
yes,
But
I
you
just
worded
didn't.
that like I'm ready for a Naked Iron Man, and that is not the case.
I thought you would be cool to see Tony Stark schlang. They showed the Bat Wang in
Well, I'm curious.
Batman Day.
I mean,
So,
I'm curious about it, but then yeah, I'm not gearing up for it. But yeah, man.
yeah, this is going to be a really cool event. Obviously they had the preview in Free Comic Book Day, but with the AXE one shots, Karen Gillan's going to be writing them, and both Zach and I are big Gillan fans, so I'm excited to see this with coming out later in the year. They're all coming out in October, all written by him, which is great because being able to keep all symmetry story
Mhm.
across all the different characters is really awesome, and of course it's all connecting covers for each of those. So, looking forward to that. Zach, I know you're kind of caught up on Eternals. Have they been, especially in all these series, are they really gearing up for this event with
They're
Judgment
getting
Day?
there. I mean, they're not. I wouldn't say the titles are quite there yet. You did have a little in Eternals and Avengers. You had like like a little brief scuffle between the two teams, but I think we're still. I think it's July, right? It starts in July. I think we're still like a
Mhm.
month away where we're getting there. But yeah, I mean, everything's kind of going that route. But man, it's gonna be good. And honestly, like all three of these titles are just amazing right now. You got Jason Aaron on uh Avengers, you got Kieran Gillen on Eternals, and then you have oh god, I don't even know. I mean, who's writing X-Men right now? There's a bunch of different writers, so obviously the different
Rosenberg,
titles.
is Rosenberg writing it, or
No, I'm trying to think who's writing Immortal X-Men and just X-Men. I can't remember. It's embarrassing.
that's all right. There's so much things that we're reading. Oh, did you see that Dan Slott is going to be coming off of Fantastic Four soon?
No, and you know what? I read his run up until I kind of just got back, and I not didn't stop for any reason. They've got this whole
Mhm.
Reckoning War thing going on with Fantastic Four, and I'm a couple issues behind on that one. But I don't know, man. Did you want to talk about that for a second? Like, what are your thoughts on
So, I mean,
Slot?
I haven't really read any of it, but I know. So, I think it's either 45 or 46. It's right around there that he's coming
Mhm.
off. It's in August. I remember I was reading it a couple days ago or a day ago that he's going to be getting off of that. So, I mean,
Did
I
they
don't
say
know anything
why
that's
or
kind
anything?
of. I'm sure it's just to change it up. Maybe that's just his story. Like
Hmm.
maybe they're ending that series and they're going to restart it. Um, but yeah, it's gonna be really interesting with, I thought I saw something that said, there was a preview that said, "Dan Slott's groundbreaking run comes to a startling conclusion with a revelation years in the making." Oh, issue number 46. So, yeah, I guess maybe it is, the final issue,
Hmm.
but it does say that it is solicited to at least 50. Hmm,
Yeah,
interesting.
I'll tell you what, dude. Fantastic Four is tough, man. It is tough, and I know there's a lot of. I'm not. I'm a Fantastic Four fan, but I think it's a tough issue or a tough title to write. They're not that relatable anymore, to be honest with
Mhm.
you. Like, just nothing has really changed with the Fantastic Four in years. mean, keep in mind they killed him off for the longest time and they didn't have a title for almost 2 or 3 years. And I think that's, that's probably the biggest struggle right now too with how they're going to be brought in the MCU, because I don't know, man. It's kind of, I don't know if it's sad to say, but the whole like family dynamic isn't really appealing anymore. It's just very vanilla kind of.
Mhm.
Um,
I feel like they did like those miniseries, like the Invisible Woman and the Thing, like sold. Like I've heard more stuff being spoken about that than the Fantastic Four run. Like I feel like nobody ever
right.
talks about the Fantastic Four run unless it's like a cool variant, whoever is on it. But that doesn't really change anything. Like early, I feel like the Fantastic Four had some stuff going, but
Mhm.
yeah, I really haven't heard anybody, or even at my LCS, like people banging down the doors to get Fantastic Four every month.
It's tough too, because I mean, this is the problem. This is something I've spoken about a ton of times. Is their main villain is Doctor Doom, who is consistently brought back in as like a moderate anti-hero. And he's the
Mhm.
most appealing villain they have. Then they have these other guys. I mean, they got Kang, they got good villains. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying their other villains aren't good, but obviously Doom is their best. And he's kind of like Marvel tiptoes around whether they want to make him bad or not. Like my fear in the MCU is we'll get Doom and he's going to end up being like a Loki. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like starts
no.
off bad, ends up good, anti-hero, and it ruins it, man. It ruins it. Marvel, the MCU does a ton of things right. The one thing they do wrong is their villains. They
Mm.
ruin their villains. They're one and dones. So you got characters like Magneto and you got characters like Doom that are long-standing villains that there's a fear about them being brought in my opinion. So I don't know, man. I don't know what it is about Fantastic Four. It's just tough. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see what happens after issue 50 if they're going to reboot it but right now at least I mean they're saying they're solicited to at least issue 50, so maybe it'll end and maybe we just don't have a title for a while and
Again.
I-
Yeah.
again, but that's what it is. Like FF, yeah, like remember when it was called FF and there was like
Mhm.
a weird group on there and then of course then they brought back the Fantastic Four and
Oh yeah, you're talking Future Foundation when they had like the Future Foundation team
yeah, it was
most
just
recently.
odd. It's
Yeah.
just been such a I feel like Fantastic Four hasn't been good. I mean, like, I think Ultimate Fantastic Four, like, that run
Mhm. It was
was
good.
very well done.
It's because you got to shake it up, man. I mean, it's just, dude, the leader of the team is honestly one of the most boring characters in the Marvel universe. Like, his powers are not that awesome, and then he's just a big brain.
Mhm.
And for big brain, this dude sure as shit can't figure out how to turn his best friend back from being a rock monster. Like, I mean, this guy's doing like quantum teleportation and everything else. He's like, well, how do I get my buddy back? Like, it's obviously just, I don't know, dude. It's you, and none of the characters have really aged well in terms of like, you have Reed as the smart guy who just can't get it done and always kind of like messes up his life. I feel like Sue has never got her like due diligence as well either. Like she's
Mhm.
always kind of been Reed's shadow. She's the mother figure of the group and never been allowed to go on her own. Johnny's the playboy and Thing's the lovable, loyal rock monster, like
Yeah, maybe a shakeup would be good. Maybe that's what it is. We've seen it already, like, in the MCU, they've really changed up characters a little
mhm.
bit, and I feel like people have taken to their newer personas. So yeah, maybe changing them up in the comics to bring them forward into the movies. So yeah, people actually can understand it and relate to it a little bit.
Yeah, they gotta do something, dude. They gotta change them up a little bit. And maybe it's even team. I mean, honestly, you think about Fantastic Four, and one of the best runs was when you had the new Fantastic Four, where it was like what Hulk, Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Ghost Rider.
Mm, I
You
remember
know,
that in the 90s.
so
Yeah,
yeah, dude. I don't know, man. They got to figure something out. So,
definitely. So of course, since we're already talking comics, of course, the last topic on tonight's agenda is what are we currently reading? So Zach, what are you currently reading?
so honorable mention this week, and I know we both kind of talked about it as we've been moving forward through the past couple months. But Dark Knights of Steel, really really fun title. Sword and Sorcery, alternate universe for DC. Really fun. Issue 7 just came out. It's going to be a 12 issue series. They had that one shot, right? And then
Mhm.
I don't know if they'll end up doing more because I think there's a lot of success with this and a lot of things you could explore, but it's really fun. So if you're looking for something, singular. You don't have to have like a lot of backstory. Check it out. Really good. But
Mhm.
I think my pick of the week this week is going to be Oblivion Song 36. So Robert Kirkman's run on Oblivion Song came to an end this week in the final issue 36, and it was really good. There's been some it's been a good run in general. I didn't feel very connected to it, I guess, like invested in it. Some of the characters, the artwork was good, but it's kind of also kind of they're aliens with no faces, so sometimes it was hard to distinguish between which alien was which alien. And I do kind of think that maybe it could have been a tighter, more concise story and like a shorter, like less than 36 issues, maybe something like 25. But all in all, this last issue was fantastic. I mean, probably the best issue of the whole series, in my opinion. The way they kind of rounded out the story, the way they ended it was really perfect, really poignant, and it was good. It's good. And then, even at the end, there's like words from the creators and whatnot. And Kirkman even mentions something along the lines of like, "Hey, this is the end of the comic, but this may not be the end of Oblivion Song." And
Mhm.
we all hear the rumors about Jake Gyllenhaal and movie or TV or whatever they're going to end up doing with it. So, yeah, pick of the week, Oblivion Song 36, wrapping it out.
Nice. Yeah. I haven't read that series in so long. I probably dropped off after like issue 5, but
So, why did you? I'm curious.
I just think I was at a time where there was so much coming out, and I was
Mhm.
just like, I can't continue with all the indie stuff that I was buying and Marvel and DC, and
Right.
so I think I kind of just like dropped it because I did have the first 5 issues. I had like the cover A, the cover B, like the pink or green variants for like issue 2 and 3. There was like a frog variant.
Mhm.
It was just I had them and I stopped. So
Gotcha. Because that was kind of like when I would say the first 12 issues were pretty solid. And
mhm.
then in the middle it dipped a little, so
Yeah,
just
I kind of
curious
did
as
like the first story arc, and then I kind of was just like, oh, okay, I'm kind of
yeah.
done with it. So.
Cool. What do you got?
Interesting series, and I'm sure you're kind of been picking this up for my honorable mention. The newest volume for Savage Avengers
Mhm.
is I don't know. Did you read both issues yet, or?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. So very interesting story. We talked about this probably a few months ago regarding the upcoming series. So Savage Avengers. Basically, it starts off with Deathlock, trying to find this time displaced Conan, and then they end up fighting. But in that vicinity, there's also all these other heroes and villains, like Dark Cloak and Dagger in there, Devil
Mhm.
Dinosaur. You got Weapon H, as well as Anti Venom, Black Knight, just to name a few. So, of course, the first issue is all about them fighting and kind of going against Deathlock. But what happens is by the end of issue 1 and into this latest issue that just came out this week, that they were all sent back in time back to where Conan's from, like his timeline era. So, um, really interesting dynamic between like all these characters because they're all like obviously they're not used to it. So and also them not working together is great,
Right.
right? Because these are not teams. This is not something that we've seen, and especially you were big on the Savage Avengers Volume 1. Like
Yeah, it was really
that
good.
team was like wild, and
Right.
I think this is like another team that's like very displaced. Like this is not a team that you'd see any type of cohesion, coherent, like stability with. But I liked it. I liked it a lot. Like Black Knight's cool, and of course with Weapon H, you kind of see him in a different uh what's he like a different not species, but he changes, right?
Yeah, so you get some upgrades on him
Yeah.
in
And I
issue
like
2.
Cloak and Dagger. I think they're an interesting thing, yeah, an interesting team. And of course Flash Thompson as Anti Venom is a badass, and he's always been a cool character. Like when they did the Rick Remender
Yeah.
Venom run as well. So that's kind of my honorable mention, but my pick of the week, and it's definitely DC stuff. So the Dark Crisis #1 came out. I read the prelude, especially with the free comic book day. But I thought this issue was pretty funny. You have Jonathan Kent, obviously, Superman, kind of going around to the heroes and asking them if they'll join
Right.
the Justice League, and a lot of people are like yes, a lot of people are no, a lot of people are like, wait, really, you want me? Like that's so cool. My favorite is, of course, like him talking to, this is a spoiler, but him talking to Yara Flora, and her basically saying no, like, I don't want to be, she's like, I just became Wonder Girl, like, I don't want to be your Wonder Woman,
Right.
and I just think it's pretty badass. And then who I don't know who the Batman is in this, right?
It's oh god, what's his name? It's Luke Fox's son.
Oh, it is him.
Oh
Okay,
no, it
because
is Luke. It's Luke Fox. Yeah,
okay.
it's Luke Fox. So there's Luke Fox, and then there's the other son, Jace. I think I kind of
Mhm.
stopped. I kind of stopped reading those, but this one I believe is Luke Fox.
Okay. Yeah, I just couldn't figure it out because they really don't say, they have the back and forth banter between Batman and Superman.
And he's
But
in New York too, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So whatever, by the end of the issue, you do have, who your newest Justice League members are, and of course it's an interesting group, and I don't want to spoil it because some things happen and somebody dies. You think he's
Mhm.
dead?
Yeah, there's a really I don't want to say what because I don't want to spoil it either. But one of the characters I'm really excited about to join the Justice League, a
I think
female
Justice League
character.
is fine, but
Say it again.
I think who you're gonna say is fine. I just think who died is.
Oh yeah, Dr. Light. I'm pretty excited to see what they do with her. I mean,
Mhm,
she doesn't get a lot of game time. I always like these new characters that haven't been around for a while, and kind of come to the forefront and see what they do. So
mhm. Well,
I
even
think
Blue
that's gonna
Beetle
be cool.
too. I feel like
Yeah,
they kind of put him in there.
he hasn't been around for a while either. So it's a cool team. I could do without Harley Quinn. God damn it, dude.
Of
Like
course.
it's like dude. Harley Quinn is so. I mean, this is no news to everyone. She's the Deadpool of the DC universe. She's just
Yeah.
everywhere and so obnoxious.
Yeah.
Not a Harley
So,
Quinn fan.
I mean, I guess, we could, I mean, so the Justice League, obviously, not really a spoiler. It's going to be when
Say
they
it.
do the
Yeah.
new Justice League. So it's obviously Supergirl's back. You have Blue Beetle. You have, like you said, Dr. Light, Aqualad, who's now Aquaman, Harley Quinn, Robin, Damian. You have both the old Blue Beetle, the new Blue Beetle, Booster Gold, Frankenstein, and Killer Frost
Yeah.
are your team members. So,
It's a cool
um,
team. It's diverse except for the two Blue Beetles, but
they're always
it's
together, Booster
and
Gold and Blue
the
Beetle.
two
But yeah,
super people. But
yeah.
I think it's a cool team.
I did like how in the issue, they kind of like kick Naomi, they kind of kick Naomi to the curb in a way. Like,
Yes.
like
Oh,
Bendis is like
I was
no
gonna
longer
ask you
writing
about
it.
I was gonna ask you what how your feelings were.
It's
That felt like a
fine.
dig, dude. That felt like a dig, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, that felt like a total dig. Where they're just like, no, I'm not ready. Maybe they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, because your last run was horrible, but
But there's also like one, and this is the only thing that bothered me about this issue. If you go back and read it, there's that one shot, the one panel that has all the villains,
okay.
and
Yeah.
there's one of the characters looks like Harley Quinn with all the
Yeah.
villains.
I know who you're talking about, and I wasn't sure who that was either, and I was kind of confused by that.
Yeah,
Um,
that was the only thing that bothered me because I feel like it's definitely her. Like it's a woman, blonde hair, same thing.
hold
Like
on.
kind of
I got it right here. I gotta pull it up and look at it now.
like it's the red armor. Like she's blowing bubble gum. Like that's totally like a Harley thing. She's got the
Yeah.
guns.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
and I feel like it
Yeah,
was
who is
definitely
it?
Harley. That's the only thing that
You
bothered
know
me
who I
about
think
this
it is?
issue.
Is it Cupid?
But isn't Cupid more of like a bow and
A
arrow?
bow and arrow, yeah, but she's kind of got a Cupid look to her.
Hmm. That's the only thing that bothered me about this issue. But that's a cool scene too. With
Mhm.
obviously we're not going to spoil it. Go ahead and read. If you go ahead and pick up the Dark Crisis #1, I think it's a badass issue. Um, but yeah, I don't know if that character who looks like dies actually dies. So we'll
Right.
have to see for issue 2 and going forward. I mean, I've not been a big fan of this character for a really long time, so I wouldn't mind him kind of kicking the bucket, I guess. So
Um, Real quick, let's talk about at the end of all the DC books this week. There's a splash panel of DC celebrates George Perez that with all the characters.
yes.
Really cool stuff. And it looks like they have I'm looking at it right now. They got different artists all kind of, I guess, drawing characters that he worked on. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, it's like all the like the Crisis on Infinite Earth stuff, like the Teen Titans stuff.
But it's
It's
all,
really
yeah,
cool.
it's all different artists though.
Yep.
It's not him.
Mhm.
So really cool. And then you got George sitting there in the front, obviously. Really strong stuff here, man. I mean, I thought it was cool.
Yeah, no, I'm sure they're gonna do something for like Neil Adams probably in like a month or two as well,
Right.
like
Yeah.
all the Batman stuff. So, um, Yeah, definitely. Rest in peace, George Perez and Neil Adams. So
Yep. So yeah, that's a good pick. I actually kind of figured you were gonna pick that one.
there was a lot that came out like between DC and Marvel. Like I didn't know what, and even like on the indie side, there was some decent indie stuff this week. So I figured go with the DC thing, and especially like I said, this new Savage Avengers run is pretty cool as well. So
it's fun, yeah.
but that's it for us here at the Comic-Con podcast. Like I said, make sure if you're listening to this early enough, either Friday or Saturday morning or Saturday during the day, check out Comic Dunes on Whatnot. For myself, I have a scheduled Whatnot sale right now, Friday night. So if you listen to this again early enough, Friday night Marvel, Saturday night probably doing Star Wars if I get a chance, but at least the Marvel one is already scheduled. So go ahead and bookmark that. Other than that, that's it for myself. Zach, what about you?
No, I'm good, man. I'm just LIVIN, just hanging out, and kind of nice not super busy right now. So just kind of enjoying that hot weather in the pool and the weekends, man.
Yeah, and as soon as we get done with this recording, Zach and I have to discuss Terrificon. So
We do.
that's what we're gonna do for our post show. So thanks everyone for checking us out. We appreciate it. Again, you know where you can find us, and again, tell your friends, share it, and also we're on Amazon Music as well. So peace out, everybody.
Thanks.